Hey everybody, Wandering Pastor coming to you today again with part 2 of what is kind of a mini series here. Yesterday I asked the question, the most important question is, what is the purpose of your life? Why are you here? What is the meaning of your life? Oftentimes we don't think about those things, we just go through our days. Today is a similar kind of a thing because it's really what is the vision you have for your life? That is, if you're just sort of wallowing through your life, you're missing out. If you can ask yourself, if you can really consider what is the vision I have for my life, the goal, what's going to give my life meaning and impact and direction, your vision will help you to do that. Again, most of us have one. We've never really stopped and thought about it though. And so our vision may be very, very short-sighted or very temporary. And I want to encourage you to think bigger, to think about what is the vision, the big picture goal I have for my life. At the end of my life, if I look back, how will I know I accomplished it or not? And again, you may not have ever thought about this, but I want to encourage you to do so. Vision is something that gives your life direction. It teaches you, among other things, what to say yes to and what to say no to. There are a lot of good things to get involved with. How do you know what to say yes to? Well, if you have an understanding of what your vision is for your life, that will help to guide you and direct you. And among other things, to say no to this and yes to this and to really give yourself to this. The power of vision is pretty big. You know, I remember back, I think it was in the 80s, there was a movie called City Slickers. And it's about these city guys who go out on this dude ranch for a week. And Billy Crystal is the main star. And it's a very funny movie, but it's a very meaningful movie. And Jack Palance is the hardened cowboy who says, all you got to do, you city slickers are all the same thing, all the same way. But all you got to do is figure out one thing. What is your one thing? And Billy Crystal says, what is it? And he says, that's what you got to figure out. And at the end of the movie, Billy Crystal finally says, now I get it. Now I understand what he said. My one thing is my family. And for many of you, it may be your family. But it might be something different than that. It might be, maybe your vision is to become a millionaire by the time you're 40. You're going to live very differently than the guy who just wants to have fun until he's 40, if that's your goal, isn't it? Aren't you? It's going to direct you. It's going to guide you. It's going to say yes to this and say no to this because that's your goal. What if your goal is to be a pro athlete? That's going to give you a very different set of strategies and a very different mission than somebody who doesn't care about sports. What if your goal is to be the best parent you can be? That's going to drive you very differently than a guy who doesn't have kids and doesn't want to have kids, right? So what is your vision? All of us have them. Most of us don't think about them. What is your vision? The Apostle Paul had a vision. He wrote about to the Philippians, and it really guided his life. When you study the Apostle Paul and everything he wrote and everything he went through, it really makes sense. He wrote this to the Philippians in chapter 3. He said, in verse 10, he said, I want to know Christ and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of sharing in his sufferings, becoming like him in his death, and so somehow to attain the resurrection from the dead. He knew, this was his overarching goal. I want to know Christ. I want to be as close to him as I can be. I want to know the power of his resurrection, the new life that he has and that he gives us. The fellowship of sharing in his sufferings. I know I'm going to suffer for this cause. I want to have fellowship with him as I do so. And then to get to the resurrection that he promised at the end of it all. That governed the Apostle Paul's life. And again, when you look through the book of Acts and you read most of the New Testament, you can see that that was what he tried to live out. And at the end of his life, he said, I have fought the good fight. I finished the race. Now there is a crown laid up for me that God has kept in heaven for me. And I look forward to that. That was Paul's vision. He lived it out. All right. King David said this way in Psalm 27. He said, one thing I ask of the Lord, and this is what I seek, that I might dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. A couple verses later, he said, my heart says of you, seek his face, and your face, O Lord, will I seek. That was David's vision for his life. Now, he was a king, and he was an army leader. He was all of these things, but ultimately in his heart, what he wanted more than anything was to seek the Lord and dwell with him. And that changed how he approached everything he did. And of course, when the kings came along after him who didn't have that vision, Israel got off track very, very quickly. So what is your vision? How do you know? How do you come to the end of your vision? How do you come to the delineation of your vision? I would say a few things. First of all, take some time, get away from the noise of your life, get away from the television or your phone or computer or whatever. Take some time when your kids are taking a nap, if they do, or etc. Take some quiet time is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be a long time. Maybe you can take 10 minutes today and 10 minutes tomorrow or whatever. And ask a few questions. Number one, what are the values that you have? The things that you say, these things are what I'm about. These values are what I stand on. Maybe one is love of everyone. Maybe one is kindness. Maybe one is responsibility, work ethic, whatever it is. Take time to delineate maybe 4 or 5 values, core values that you are about, that when people talk about you, this is what comes out. What are the core values? And then think about, second question is, what causes am I passionate about? What things come up that you are like, I want to be about this. You don't have to convince me. Put me at the front of the line. I'm involved in this thing, whatever that cause is. It might be a political cause. It might be a moral cause. It might be a compassionate cause. Whatever. What are the causes that you are passionate about? And then start to ask God, ask Him, how does all this fit together? Now, I told you that I would share mine today. This came from, I've thought about this for many years, and I had some time this week where I got away and I really focused again, and it helped to clarify. For me, it's this. My vision is to know and love God, seeking Him continually. The second part is to fully embrace the life that He has for me. Third part is to help others come to know Him more fully. Okay, that is my vision. That's Dave's. You can't copy that. That's not going to be yours, all right? Mine is to know and love God, seeking Him continually. Now, there are a lot of people who have, why is this different? There are a lot of people who have belief in God. You might say, yeah, I believe in God, but you're not seeking Him continually. That's one of the things that's always been a big part of who I am. I want to know Him more, and I'm going after it, and I want Him to continually grow me so that I'm more and more passionate about Him. And for some of you, that doesn't fit. Okay? Second thing is, I want to fully embrace the life that He has for me. That fully embrace, and this is really shown in the mission and the strategy that you'll hear about next, but the fully embracing is something that's the thing. If you know God, if you believe in God, do you enthusiastically embrace what He has for you? Or you just kind of, Lord, I want to do this thing. You tell me to do this. I want to do my own thing. I would say this, if you are struggling against God, you probably don't fully know Him, because God's way is good and pleasing and perfect, as Romans 12:2 says. And if you're not fully embracing everything He has for you, you're, number one, you're missing out. And number two, you have to at least investigate the possibility that maybe you don't really know Him. Maybe you have religion, but you don't have a relationship, okay? Number three, the third part of mine is to help others know Him more fully. That's always been my primary thing. I want to help people to know and love God. That's part of the reason I do these things. As little as they are, maybe they can help you know and love God a little bit more. So my vision is threefold. Number one, I want to know and love God and seek Him continually. Number two, I want to fully embrace all that He has, all of the life He has for me. And number three, I want to help others to know and love Him more fully. What's your vision? We'll talk about how that then gets lived out and how you put skin on that vision, on that skeleton of a vision next time. But right now, you really need to take some time and think about what is the vision God has for you. Because some of you may be going through a life transition like I have been. Some of you may be early on in your professional careers or your family careers, and these things matter. and they will help to guide you. So take some time to do it, okay? Wandering Pastor saying peace to you. Hope you have a great day. Again, if you have any questions, comments, disagreements, anything, debates about these things, please email me at wanderingpastor@gmail.com. wanderingpastor@gmail.com. You can certainly leave a comment here. And if you think anybody else would benefit from this, please like it and share it, because other people will need to hear it too. Okay? Have a great day.